Welcome in, welcome in. We got a great show for you tonight, and I brought some people with me.
You
What's
got
happening?
Z. What's up? Willie.
So,
Ferocious.
so
Ferocious
one, so
247
one, we
always.
have Ferocious over here to my left, and we also have the host of CEC podcast, Mrs. Zeph Channel.
Yes, sir. Oh, but don't forget, you got your boy Willie ain't never late. Who's hosting this show to switch it up?
Yes. Well, tonight we have a treat because Mrs. Zeph has a special guest that he's going to be hosting tonight.
Oh yes, I
So
am
he's gonna
hosting.
be running the show tonight. As the show say, we gonna switch it up.
What's up, y'all? What's
So,
up, peoples? What's
so
up,
the first
family?
thing I want to start doing, I want to start changing this show just a little bit. I want to give honor to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for allowing us to be able to do this, because without Him, none of this would be possible. So we want to definitely give Him all the glory.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
with that being said, brother, I'm gonna let you go ahead and introduce our special guest tonight.
All right. So, for who don't know me out there, I am Z, and I am hosting tonight. And this is our financial freedom breakthrough. Pass it on to next generation podcast seminar. This is week 2. Last week we had a great week with Mr. Willie's first lady of his church who came through, laid out phenomenally well.
Love you, Mama B.
Miss B, thank you again. But tonight,
Thank you.
tonight, we got somebody that I know very well.
No, very well.
And first of
Very
all,
well.
time out. Don't neither one of you ask for any stories about me growing up. We're not doing it tonight. No stories being told about me tonight.
Sure.
No. But this
You, you
man
you
coming,
read you read my mind, didn't you? Damn.
but this man coming to the stage is none other than the guy who has raised me and been there and gave me many of talks about stuff and in one ear out a few whoopings, you know how that goes. But this man has been a great, tremendous inspiration to who I am. And I want to say thank you for being that guy. But no further. We got Mr. Anthony Cummings, my pops, coming to the stage tonight to talk to us here. So please come on up, Mr. Cummings. There you is. That's my pops. Around
Say wherever you are,
Where
wherever
you
you
at?
are.
So the floor is yours, pops. Give us a 30-second intro of who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm retired now. I'm a military vet, and I went in the military, shoot, right out of high school back in the late '70s, mid to late '70s. That's when Vietnam was pulling down, and I was kind of afraid to get drafted, so I had to find a branch of service that I would go into that wouldn't send me on the front lines. That was really one of my fears. So I went to the Air Force, but I learned a lot by going in there because I was born in Tampa, Florida, and there wasn't a lot of opportunity. You know, black man anyway. You know, black youth. You was just trying to survive, and no jobs, didn't have no formal training for anything, so I could just do basic labor. So I went in. I decided to try to get some electronic background. One of the thoughts I had, me and a friend of mine, was that, hey, if I could get a some type of training, I could come out of the service and have a job. So I decided to go with electronics. I figured I could be an electrician, right? I said they're gonna build houses forever, so I'm gonna always have a job. That was my train of thought. So from that, I went forth, spent 18 and a half years, retired, and got out, still use those same skill sets I learned in there. And that kind of kept me going.
Okay. What are some hobbies you have? Give us a few of your
Well,
hobbies.
yeah, my big hobbies is hot rods. I like drag racing a lot, always have, and so I'm a car guy. You know, you can talk to me about cars all day long, and I'll talk.
Okay. So on a side note, we have people in there saying boo the Steelers. You got Miss Sean saying Steelers all day. So before we go into the financial part of this, why and how did you become a Steelers fan? And what was it that drew you into that nation of the terrible towel or the steel curtain? Like, what was it?
Medication. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that, sir. I'm sorry. Sir, I'm sorry.
Only a
I'm
Cowboy
sorry.
fan. Only a Cowboy.
I'm I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was just serious.
Well, when I grew up in Tampa, you know, the Miami Dolphins was the team. Could not be beat. Their record still stands. And they dominated, man. I mean, it ain't nothing like football today. But there was this little team that came into Miami and gave the Dolphins all that they could handle. I mean, just about upset them on that run. And that was the Pittsburgh Steelers. And me and my childhood friend Woody back in Tampa, man, we said that's the team I'm gonna go with from now on, and that's how I became a Steeler fan.
Okay.
Wow.
So let's get into why we're here today. Financial freedom and money saving tips, and just we're gonna pick your brain a little bit.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to find my notes real quick. I sent you the notes.
yeah.
Let's get into one thing. I know that you have really I seen do quite well. Real estate. Give us some insight into what you do. Hey, Mama, I see you, Mama. Mama, you can't run. Say hey, Mama. We see you back there, Mama. Yeah. Okay, he's in the
Hey,
background.
mama.
All right. So, how did you get into the real estate? Like, what took you into that direction of real estate?
Well, once I got out, I started working, like I say, using the skill sets that I had. But you know, I had started learning about money while I was in the service. I had a chance to travel to different countries, and basically, I noticed something that I started have. Uh, I had a little what you call it, a how you want to put it. I always thought about money to the extent that I didn't have any. So I wanted to know how to get some. And anyway, I started. I remember I was in. Now, when I really started paying attention, those people I told you about, I was in Japan. That was my first overseas duty. I was stationed at a base not too far from Tokyo. And we used to go into Tokyo and everything. But I met this couple, married couple. They was in the military. I think the husband was in the military, maybe both. And they told me to save $25 out of every paycheck, at least once a month, if I couldn't save it out of every paycheck. And they were trying to get me to understand that compounded interest will pay in the long run. But I didn't make that much money, so I'm like, I ain't gonna be able to save. I'm going to the club. I'm gonna, do what everybody else do, and chase the girls and party. So I couldn't save $1. But if I would have paid attention to what they were saying and had a little more forethought, I believe it would have did me well. But after that, I came back to the States, got married, went overseas. But I still had that interest. I ain't have no money, but I still had that interest in the money because I ain't have none. And I noticed from when I left from Japan, the dollar was worth more Japanese yen. So if you get $1, you could buy like $1.50 to $2 of their money. So it was almost double of what the dollar was, 2 for 1. I got to England in Europe, and it was the reverse. It was like you had to pay $2 for one of their dollars. I'm just, giving an example. It's not precise. And I was like, wait, something's wrong with this picture. Because even when I was in Japan, we used to go to Korea. In Korea, you could get maybe $3 for every one American dollar because their economy was a lot less, than the Japanese. And definitely they was up under America. So I'm looking at the almighty dollar and how it translates to other currencies in the world. And Germany you can get more German marks for $1, and just about every other country except England. England, there was something about England, the UK, that they had a stronghold in the American financial system for them to be able to have the flip-flop of the money game. So I started getting interested in that even more then. I remember then when we was in England that just like now, to buy a house, interest rates was like somewhere between 8 and 10% interest. I'm like, how in the world somebody's supposed to be able to buy a house, even though houses only costed about $80,000 to $100,000, but still at 10% interest, that's a lot of money when you ain't making that much.
Right.
So I just kept growing and wanting to know about this money. So by the time I kept learning the little bit I could learn and got back to the States, made a little more money, and we went to Las Vegas. You remember that, Kelvis?
Yep.
That was our last duty station. Learned a lot in Las Vegas after getting back to the States. I learned from a Christian broadcast about budgeting. It was called Christian Financial Concepts, and they taught us. Me and my wife started using the envelope system, a manual envelope system. It wasn't doing no spreadsheet or nothing like that, because they wanted to teach you to see the money and to see it leave your hands. So if you put it in an envelope, you said I had $300 for gas and I had $300 for groceries. Well, if I spent $350 in gas, I'm going to be short on my groceries, right? And they want you to physically see how that worked, so you can get your brain could relate to what you see in your hands. That was very inspiring because it helped me visualize more about understanding budgets. So went through that process, but in the same way, learning all of that, my wife, your mom, had a very, very good understanding where I did not of how to pay bills.
Right.
I spent money, but I didn't know nothing about paying no bills. That didn't really relate to me. I just got money and I wanted what I wanted, and I would, try to spend it. But she knew how to, from her upbringing, how to pay your bills on time. And that was key later on, about 10 years after we got out the service, so that when we got ready to buy real estate, by her paying the bills on time and keeping everything, up to par, people would lend us, and this was on credit cards back in the day. I think we had a Chase MasterCard somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000 on the credit card, face value, that we could borrow against or charge. Now, that sounds like a lot to use, but if you use it the right way. Now, if you ran up $30,000 worth of just buying clothes, then you're gonna be behind the 8 ball. But we found out that we could take cash advances, and we bought real estate with those high value credit cards. And real estate had dropped down in 2008 to such a low value because of the times that we was going through in real estate. So we used our credit and the cars that we had that had high value dollar amounts on them and bought houses. And that was my first and our first experience into not really knowing but using other people's money.
Okay.
So we was using the bank's money to buy real estate to create assets. And that was only done because we had good credit. We didn't have no cash money.
Right.
Okay.
Remember we was broke. we were broke, raising kids. Only thing we had was good credit.
Right.
But we used that credit wisely. So we bought real estate, we bought houses. It was hard work, don't get me wrong. When you go in to be a business owner, whatever you do, it's going to be some work that you're going to have to put into it. It's not going to just be automatic. I ran into people say, well, I want to go into real estate, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, well, what when they call you 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and say the toilet won't flush? You know, what you going to do then?
Or there's a raccoon in the house.
Yeah, raccoon in the house. So what you going to do? I mean, you got to deal with that stuff. So don't get me wrong. You go through the process of learning what it takes to be in the real estate business, whether you're flipping. I never flipped, but I knew a lot of people. I knew some people who did. I was buying and holding and living off of the residual of the rent.
Okay.
And the residual was after I paid all the expenses. But what wound up happening once the market finally went up high a few years ago, I liquidated quite a bit of my assets, and there was a windfall. I mean, we bought properties at $8,000, turned around and sold them at $60,000.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, it blew me away. I'm gonna tell you something else about that. That's when I first began to realize how valuable real estate was and how owning property, even if it's your own property, a house is a bank in a sense because it doesn't depreciate. It only appreciates.
Okay.
When you can cash it out at some point, but you still have to use it wisely. Like a lot of people,
right.
we did the same thing, made mistakes, getting second mortgages and stuff. If you do that type of stuff and don't have a plan for payoff, then it can run you in the hole.
Okay. So, real quickly, you took the first house, you bought it for 8, you sold it for about 60. In your mindset, that had to put you at a level of like, what level did you get to when in your mindset of like, other than wow, that was like cool, but when you made that money and saw it, where did your mind go to? Like, what was that switch that flipped? Like, dang.
Oh, that was easy. It was like, so this is how it works.
Okay.
For those who have money. When I seen that big check deposited in my bank, I had never had that kind of money at once deposited in an account.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so if you're in business and you make the business pay you back with tremendous, that if you do it right, you can see masses, tens of thousands of dollars fastly come back to you.
Right.
And it was an experience that I hadn't experienced before. And then I really started wanting to know. I was learning still about money, but I was still wanting to learn more and more. And I'm still like that now because that kind of gave me even more of a drive to want to learn more. But kind of what started me way back when was this book right here. Y'all probably heard about it.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yep.
Okay. Tremendous book, Robert Kiyosaki. It teaches you about assets and liabilities. when you're getting into budgeting, you have to understand assets and liabilities. A lot of things we call assets are liabilities until you put it on paper and you break it down. Robert does a great job of getting you to understand what's an asset and what's a liability. Because you know how people say, oh, yeah, I just bought that Benz, man, and it's an asset because it's appreciating in value. Believe it or not, it's not appreciating fast enough
Okay.
as a house would. So, yeah, it might appreciate, or it might appreciate for a small period of time, but it's depreciating probably faster than it's appreciating. Only thing you're saying is you bought it for 50,000, and so next year you might still be able to get 49,000 for it. You still ain't gonna get the 50, but it's holding its value better than the Chevy Impala.
Right.
That's the,
Right.
that's the only thing you're comparing it to, but it's still dropping in value. So we look at that as assets. Now, when you look at the whole spectrum of debts, liabilities, and assets, if you got um, a whole lot of credit cards and stuff like that that are liabilities, and you got that car that you think is an asset, when you add it up in those asset categories and those liability categories, you'll find out you're going to put that in the liability category because it's not paid for. You don't own it.
Okay.
You don't own it outright. If you don't own it outright, it's a liability.
Okay. So, what are some current trends you're seeing in the real estate market right now, and how would you advise a first-time purchaser or someone who's trying to go into real estate for the first time? What would you advise them on with the current trends you're seeing now?
Depends on what you want to do. Depends on what you want to do. I mean, real estate is an a lot to it. I mean, if you're an investor, you got money to invest. Sure, there's ways to do that. I mean, you can go commercial. Real estate used to be real big. Single family homes, multi living apartment complexes. They're good. All of them have their aspects about them that you're going to have to get used to. Uh, but I would say the first thing when it comes to real estate for the average person, try to buy your first home. Try to buy your first home. I
Okay.
don't care if it ain't that big what you see on TV mansion for, you know, $700,000. Go get the $200,000, something that you can afford. Because
Right.
if you can buy that, if you're paying $1,500 for rent, if you can get your credit up to the point where you can take that same $1,500 that you're spending on an apartment and put on a house, I guarantee you in 20 years you're going to come out better for it.
Okay. All right. Before we move on, Willie, Procious, any questions from y'all on this topic?
I have a question. So when you say find something just not as big, um, like in square footage is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I
Find
mean
some,
square footage. Yeah,
find something that you can just have something up under you as like your first home, and maybe because they have programs
yes,
that you can turn around and go back and try to get another one under that same program. But just try to get one up under you is what you're saying.
yep,
Just do that.
yep, because that's going to build your foundation. Because you remember, you're going to have to go to an institution, a banking institution. You're going to have to show yourself as a good borrower, somebody they can
Yeah.
trust. You got a track record of paying and being on time, and that's where the budgeting thing comes in because you're not going to even get that first home if you ain't got a budget because they're going to tell you they're going to see your financials.
Right.
And if you got Macy's, J.C. Penney's, and all of them negative, and then you got the in our group, black folks in most cases, many of us that I know, we live on that Man, them corner uh, cash for title places.
Cash advances, title for
Yeah,
loan.
those are predatory lenders, man. That's all they
Okay.
are. But they prey on people who don't know how to manage their money. I'm gonna throw a figure out at you guys. I listen to some people. Like I said, I'm still trying to learn. The Black American uh, group, we have in going through our hands yearly about, I think the last thing I heard, $1.3 trillion.
That's just the African Americans, right?
African American, just us.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
1.3 trillion.
Yep.
1.3 trillion. We spend 1.3 trillion. So, how can we spend all that money and not have some assets, valuable assets? First of all, get that house. It don't make no sense to keep renting for 20 years.
That
But-
part.
But you're gonna have to budget. You're gonna have to learn. It's not gonna be easy. If it was real easy, everybody would do it like they said. But it's doable. It's doable. You have to make your mind up that that's what you want. You know, I've gotten in get rich quick schemes.
Hmm.
Believe me and my wife talked about it a few times. None of them have worked. The only thing ever worked for us was real estate. I've spent money following, man, if you put 200 in, you guaranteed to get 5,000 back. I put 200 in, want to put another 200 in and get a dime back. And I did that a few times. So all of those get rich quick schemes, like they say, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Right.
Go with what works. These people out here that's been doing this stuff for years, centuries. They know what works. We're the group that just seems to not fully understand capitalism in America. Contrary to whatever we want to say about it, how bad it is, that's the system we're in.
Right.
And you have to understand the system of capitalism. And when you don't understand it, it's gonna capitalize on you. That's what happens with that 1.3 trillion. The other groups are capitalizing on our wealth. Y'all know it. We go through our neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Who's in the corner stores now?
Arabics.
Yeah.
man.
Hassan, Rayson, and all their family. You don't see no black folks in there.
Yeah.
Go into the hair shops, the nail shops. Who's working in there? Ain't no black folks in there. They don't hire us. Okay? They take our money, but they won't hire us. And they come into the black community to get our money.
I mean, I would too. Y'all spending $1.3 trillion.
Yeah, if y'all want to give it to me,
Yeah.
I'm
I'm coming
gonna
too.
take it from you.
I'm
You know?
Yeah.
pull the truck up. Go ahead, Ferocious. What you got to say?
Oh,
Legal
go ahead.
crooks. No, I had a question. So getting into real estate, let's say you do have the credit to where you can get that loan that you mentioned earlier from a bank. I mean, today it might be a little different, but let's say you don't have the finances to cover if you can get the loan and you want to get that first time house.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work out in a first time buyer's favor, or would that work out?
I work with a real estate lady, and she knows all the ins and outs for first time buyers. The programs that's out there that help you. You may have to go through a 3-month course to show viability of that. You know how to handle your finances. May even clean up some of your bad debts. You know, you may have to go a year to show that you can clean up your bad debts. Y'all heard of Dave Ramsey, right?
Sounds a little familiar.
Any of you guys heard of Dave Ramsey?
Yes, I have.
Dave Ramsey, been around a long time. He's another person we follow. And Dave has what he called 7 baby steps. So when you're talking about buying that first house, you may have to go through these baby steps to get yourself in a financial position to present yourself to a banking institution who will lend you the money for that first house. And like I said, it may take a year, it may take 2 years, but if you set your mind to it, you can do it. His first step is basically this. And remember, I said this a few weeks ago when I was on here, Willie, and I said, can anybody get their hand on $1,000 without having to go borrow it from anybody?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I kind of got that, and I kind of moved it, changed it around a little bit. But this is Dave's first step. His step 1 says save $1,000 for your starter emergency fund. That's his first step. Save $1,000. So you're not going to remember now. You're not going to save $1,000 if you don't know how to budget, because you don't know where your money is going. You can get $10,000 a month in income, but if you don't know where your money is going, you're spending 10.5, and you're saying, I can't save no money. You're right, you can't save no, because you don't know where your money going. But I do this and but you don't know where it's going. It's not written down. You don't see it in black and white. You're trying to keep it in your mind, and you can't do it that way.
Right.
Remember I told you about that envelope system, right?
Right.
That was what was good about the envelope system. It made you look at what you were doing. It made you see where money was going out and where money came in. So his second step is this: pay off all debts except for the house using the debt snowball. You ever heard of the debt snowball? Debt snowball means this: if you got 5 debts, the one that's the least amount. Say you got one $100, the other one's $200, the other one's $300, the other's $400, the other one's $500. Well, you take the one that's $100, okay? You pay anything you got over, you pay that on that $100 till you pay it off. You pay the minimum on the rest. Once you paid that one off, the money you paid, you got that you paid off that $100, you put that money toward the $200. And you keep going till you got them all paid off. That's why they call it snowball.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense.
So
Yep.
to clarify,
Snowball debt.
you pay a little. You pay someone 100, but you pay the bare minimum on the other ones
Yes.
until you pay the first one off.
Yes.
And the money using for the first one, you pay on the second one, and keep paying the minimum on the other ones, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But you're still paying that same $100 or that same amount that you were paying for the $100 initially.
Yeah, you're using that because you need to use that to clear all of the debt till you get to the $500. Then when you get to the $500, the $500 one, then you're gonna have all that money in your account now, and you've been living without it anyway. So why spend it? That's just gonna build your $1,000 plus emergency fund, or increase your $1,000 emergency fund. Okay, step 3, Dave says save 3 to 6 months of expenses in a fully funded emergency fund. Now you remember he started off with 1,000, right?
Right.
Then he said the debt snowball, right? So
Right.
once you get the debt snowball, you're gonna have more money. That's when you go to saving 3 to 6 months of expenses. Okay, step 4. Invest 15% of your household income in retirement. 15%. Okay. Step 5. Save for your children's college fund. You know, that's subjective, of course. Then step 6. Pay off your home early. Step 7. Build wealth and give. Now I want to hit that give part for a minute. I used to always wonder, and I asked this question to a few people, and you know, now I've asked it to pastors, I've asked it to people who were somewhat well off, and I say, wow, how come it seems like people who have means and have good amount of means and have extra, they're not on a budget that they're so bogged down. They seem to, if they don't give it to the church, they give maybe to charitable situations, homeless people, or they got like here St. Jude, but they give. They might not be Christians. They might not go to church at all. But they seem to prosper in their finances. And you know what I learned from being in the Christian church and learning through my own processes and talking to other people that knew. They said, well, if you look at how God structured things, it was structured that you help the poor. That was one thing. But if you give, it was a basic law God established. If you give, it'll be given back to you. And I'm saying that's why those that they might not go to church at all, but they use that principle of giving. Whether they give it to the church or whether they give it to St. Jude, they give. They give to the poor, they give to the shelter for battered women or whatever. And they seem to prosper. They're not squeezing that dollar so hard. What they said, you get $1, you close your hand up. But they said what happens is you got your hand closed, so can't nothing get in it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you take, for instance, just to give you a visual reference, here's a dime, okay? I'm putting it in my hand, okay? I need to put this other dime in there, but I got my hand closed so tight, that dime can't get in there. If I give that one away, I can get another one. If I keep my hand open, give, then another one could come in. But if I just keep my hand closed so tight, nothing can get in. That makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. So
that's some analogy for you right there.
Yeah, man.
So we had a question in the gallery. In real estate, what barriers, if any, did you face? I'm going to add on to that one. I'm going to add a little bit more onto it. If you faced any barriers, was it because of your skin color, or was it purely on the financial side?
Our first house, our house on Rosswood, you know, Kev, was the one you grew
I remember that one. Yes.
When I was coming out of the military, we found a seller. You don't find this anymore, or very rarely. They had what they call an assumable loan. And when you learn about buying houses, you'll find out, and learn about finances, you'll find out certain aspects of loans. Well, they had what they call an assumable loan. What that meant was if they wanted to sell their house, they can sell it to somebody and walk away from it by letting the other person that's buying it assume their loan without having to put anything down. Without, so what that does is, in most cases before, when you wanted to buy a home, you had to have at least 20% down.
Mm-hmm.
But assumable loan, you didn't have to have that. You rode on the equity that was already in the house. Remember, I said the house is like a bank. A house is an asset which accumulates interest, which accumulates money. So when a person sells you a house and they've been in it for 10 years, they might have started out at $80,000 on the house, but the house might be worth $120 now. So when you assume that loan and it's only $70,000 to pay it off, well, you assumed all that interest. That's automatic money to you. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that was what we did. We assumed somebody's loan. But what happened was the institution fought us tooth and nail. And we believed, and my wife will tell you for sure, She had to call them and said, "We gave y'all everything y'all wanted, double every time y'all asked for it. I was a veteran. I was retiring. We proved our income." And she said, "I'm telling y'all this. I'm going to call, and I think she said, I'm going to get me a lawyer, and I'm going to file a lawsuit or something like that." And right after she said that, they approved the loan. But prior to that, they made us jump through all types of hoops. But see, I didn't know that at the time. I was still learning about finances, and I didn't really understand what that did for us. It's like they were trying to prevent us from getting a step up, because when we assumed that loan, we got that instant equity. That was money in our pocket.
Right.
Didn't have to start from zero, or didn't have to come up with any money. But it was illegal. It was a legal action. They was just trying to throw roadblocks in preventing us, which we believe because we was black. They didn't want us to do it, and we was kind of moving in a predominantly white area in a way.
Yes, we was. It was 3 black families in the whole street, the whole block.
I don't know about you guys. Have y'all heard of redlining? Have you ever heard about redlining in Detroit and all of the big major cities? They used to draw red lines where the banks would not lend money across a certain threshold of a city. So that's how they kept blacks out.
Wow.
They wanted to keep blacks out, and that's what they put a red line on the map, and they called it redlining.
Wow.
Okay.
That's unbelievable.
That's crazy. Anything else before we move to the next topic, fellas?
No.
Okay. So, Pops, me and you have talked about this. What you got? What you got for us?
This is my boy right here. If y'all do anything, man, get this book. It's by Dr. Claude Anderson, and it's called Powernomics. This guy is really good at explaining the American system, where we as blacks sit into it, and how we must understand economics of the system and how to do the economics of which we're in. It's very, very, very good. There's so many books out there. And you ever get a chance, read The Millionaire Next Door. Y'all heard of this book? The Millionaire Next Door.
Mm-mm.
Okay, there's another good one. The Millionaire Next Door, you wouldn't even know the whole premise is you wouldn't even know the guy was a millionaire. He didn't walk around flashing money. He didn't walk around flashing clothes. He didn't walk around flashing nothing. But he could go to the bank and get it and tap into his $1 million. But he looked like he was a poor man.
Oh wow.
Yeah. As blacks, that's not what we do. That's kind of our culture, and we need to break that. We want to pretend that we have, and we don't really have what we're pretending that we have.
That part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a little shift in topics real quick. The market. Why personally branding matters in the market matter? Like, why does it matter? What is it about the market that we need to be worried about and matter to help us get to that level of understanding the market itself?
Which market are you talking about?
The stock market.
Okay.
The stock exchange. Yes, sir. The stock market exchange.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about branding. I'm not really up on branding as much. I got a nephew. He knows about Torrance. He knows about it because he's been branding. I think you guys trying to build your brand yourselves, which is good. Keep pushing, keep doing what you're doing. It's work, but you won't know it until you work it.
Right.
Stock market is a age-old concept. It still works, but it's manipulated quite a bit. You really have to do a lot of in-depth study or get with the right people that do study to make money on it. You can still make money. I've made money on it. I haven't made no crazy money, but um, you got to want to know about how it works. Um, the biggest thing people do in stock markets when they work at jobs is put money in 401ks. But you remember, if you understand that how that works, you just putting your money in the pool, and they're taking the money and they're reinvesting it. And of course, they charge you a certain premium to manage your money, to manage the account. That's how they make their money. Even though you may not make as much, but they're going to get their money. But if you do it on your own and find you a good financial advisor, anybody can do this. If you had just $1,000 to invest using the same steps that Dave talked about, where you save that 15% of your household income in retirement. You don't have to always put all your money in the 401k. You can find your financial advisor and tell him you want to invest on your own outside of that. They can find a whole lot of things to invest in, from exchange traded funds, individual stocks. But the main thing with investing in the stock market, you got to have a tolerance, and they're going to ask you what's your tolerance. If you're scared to lose a dollar in the stock market, stay with the 401k, because stock market goes up and it goes down. And if you can't handle when it drops, you got $10,000 in the account and it drops down to 5, and you freak out, and you say, "Well, I'm not gonna put no money in because the rich people don't do that. They don't care if it drops. They want it to drop because they know that it's going to come back up. So when it drops down to 5,000, guess what? They're going to put another 5,000 in, because when it goes back up, it's probably going to double, and they're going to be at 20, and they know it. But if you got a tolerance level that can't stomach losing $1,000, losing $5,000, and it's only temporary usually if you're in a good stock, then it's best for you not to do it and just stay with the 401ks. But if you want to learn about the stock market, man, it's a good thing to learn about, get into it. I've dabbled into gold and silver. I did that for preservation of income. Gold has always been a stable currency. It don't go up like stocks. Neither does silver. But let's say the bottom fell out on the dollar. Well, gold and silver is always going to be legal currency. Matter of fact,
hold on. No. We'll get to that point. Just let's stick to the stock market. Stick to the market. You're jumping ahead. Stick to the market.
I'll get
stick to the market. I know. Stop. So stop that. So in the market, you mentioned gold.
Okay, so the stock market really depends on your level of how you can handle the ups and downs of the market.
Okay.
Because the market will go up and down. It can make you money. You can buy stocks when they're low in the $10 range, and the next thing you know, in 2 years, it's that same stock is worth $50. It happens. I was listening to a guy today. He was saying there was a stock in 2024 that was trading for $14. Today it's trading for $52.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. So you go ahead.
So you got to want to know. You got to want to know, and you got to be able to look at money differently when it comes to investing. You can't. That type of money is not the type of money that you're going to depend on tomorrow.
Okay.
To invest. If you're dependent on that money tomorrow, then you can't invest that money. You got to put that money in there and think long term. So you got to say, 5 years out, 10 years out.
Right.
Okay. So you mentioned stocks or 401k. What is your understanding and what is your knowledge? What could you give to the three of us or people in the comments on how to do the 401k if their job offers it? And why is it a good idea to take that 401k?
Well, there's a long story with the 401k, but let me try to say it as quick as I can. 401ks came along after they stopped doing retirement accounts.
Okay.
Everybody, when they worked for 25, 30 years, their company funded a retirement retirement account. Companies spent a lot of money, and it's not so much they got tired of it, it's just that they wasn't making as much money funding for their workers. So they changed the system basically like they always do. And
Okay.
they went to 401ks. 401ks basically people in the stock market run it. They just partner with whatever corporation you're working with. You pay for pretty much all of the maintenance fees, not the employer. So they're putting everything back on you to pay for compared to when they used to pay for it. And also, they have no responsibility for your retirement at all. You have a responsibility for it. You can either put into it or you can't, or you don't. It's up to you. Now, what they did and when they first started to make it a sweet deal was that for every dollar you put in, they would match $1. That was free money. So if you put in 100, they put in 100. That was $200 you put in. Today, if you find somebody gonna give you $1 for $1, you'd be lucky. They mostly are down to 25 cents to $1. Most of them. If you find one 50% on $1, go for it. Because what we say is that's just free money, and it is. They're giving you free money.
Right.
So you if you're going to invest in a 401k, invest to the max that they match. So if they match up to 5%, you put in 5% and let them match it.
Okay.
Okay, then you can take the rest of your money and go invest it in something else, real estate or whatever you want them invested in. Or you can put down on the 401k.
Okay. Any questions, fellas, about the 401k or the stocks? I asked the guys if they have any questions for you.
Oh, okay.
I did see a question that I think the Don had.
No, that's
earlier.
in the next topic. We'll get to that one.
Okay.
That
you
one
know what
Don,
I'm talking about?
Yeah, I see the cryptocurrency one. That's in our next topic.
No.
Which one?
Okay.
Nope. That's
He was right about you got to be willing to play the long game. That's what I was saying.
That's a comment.
In the stock market, you can't wait for you can't expect it to turn over next week. You can't expect it to turn over next month or next year. You got to look out 5 to 10 years. Right. Now I've played it, and in a 5 to 10 year span, I've had pretty good games. I've had really good games. You know, I got with a guy that's pretty decent. He's not probably the greatest, but I had some of my own knowledge of what stocks I went into, like oil stocks.
Okay.
And the oil stocks did good for me. I bought my wife some oil stocks. It did good for her. Now oil isn't doing anything. Oil is just sitting there. So I moved a lot of money out of oil. And like now I'm moving more into, I went into Amazon. Amazon did good for me. Recently I went into NVIDIA. NVIDIA was high when I bought it in, but it still has gone up. So AI is getting very popular. There's a lot of stocks around the AI. But like I said, when you get into the stock market, you got to do your research, because exchange traded funds, ETFs, those are the big deal, because they package stuff together to make an ETF. It's not just an individual fund, and that's okay, as long as it's got returns, good returns for you. but you have to understand that.
Right.
But I
What kind
bought
of question?
Amazon. I bought Amazon when Amazon was going for $1,000 a share.
Okay, go ahead, Ferocious.
I mean, I would assume that the reason why the oil stock is kind of not doing nothing is because, you know, the EVs, the electric vehicles and whatnot. My question is that something that you invested in as well? Electric
EVs?
vehicle? Yeah. Anything with stock market that has to do with that?
I have not. I just recently thought about looking into Tesla. Tesla have very high ups and very low lows. They're a real roller coaster. But I've been looking at Tesla because Tesla, even in Memphis, they're building some supercomputers here. And I read something the other day about they're going to another phase with AI right now. And
Yeah.
so they're also, even though people talk about Trump and him done fell out, he's got some type of government deal. I read the other day that he's got a deal with the government to provide something. I don't know, can't remember what it was. So again, the rich people know money. They might fall out with each other, but because they know money, they're gonna deal with each other if it's money to be made. That's the kind of stuff, y'all, we got to come together and do. There was a time when I was coming up, there was probably more black banks around. You can't find one now at all, hardly. Very few. I think there's one in Atlanta that what's that rapper name? He started up.
I think was it Ti or
Not him.
Killer Mike? Money
Killer
Mike?
Mike.
Killer Mike.
Killer Mike them started a bank up, and you guys should check it out. I think you should support them. Look into it, but they're just not. Those institutions aren't around no more. Again, 1.3 trillion, guys. 1.3 trillion, and we're putting it in Chase Manhattan. We're putting it in Bank of America. Them people ain't gonna look out for our interests. You go try to get a home loan from them and see what happens.
Yeah.
Go over there with Killer Mike and them, talk to them and say, look, this is what I'm trying to do. See what you know, do. I use his name, but that institution, you know, see what they got going and talk to them, say, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm trying to get to. How can you help me?
Right.
I want to do business with you guys. You guys are just like me. If you are trying to help black folks, I want to help y'all be successful too.
Absolutely.
And any other questions, fellas?
No, I think that pretty much answers for me as the question I was going to answer.
Okay.
It's about the 401k.
Okay. So now let's go into what you started to go into in Don's question about cryptocurrency. But I remember me and you was talking recently, and you made mention to tell me that they're getting rid of some currencies, physical currencies. What is your understanding? Can you explain that to the rest of the audience of what's going on around the currency itself and why it's leaving now?
Yeah, well, I don't quote me on this exactly. You just do the little research that I do. The world is changing. Okay,
Right.
we're not on an island. Okay, the dollar has been the major currency around the world since I think World War II. And the reason why the world got to be the major currency, you guys might not remember this, but in 1960? There used to be a thing called the gold standard. Y'all ever heard of that?
Yep.
We came off the gold standard, but that was a manipulation of the money. Okay. People used to bring their gold to America to hold, and we gave them dollars for it, and so forth and so on. I might not have it all correct, but anyway, the dollar was getting, I don't know how to put this, was getting outpaced. But anyway, some kind of way, good old Nixon got us off the gold standard. And once we went to the gold standard, we went to, you heard of fiat currency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so fiat, we went to this thing called fiat currency. You go through history, you find out about fiat currency. Many in the world worked off of gold and silver because it was a known value asset, and it was traded around the world. It still is. Um, so what's going on is the dollar is losing its value. One reason it was so strong back in the day, during Nixon and his predecessors after him, we had made a deal with Saudi Arabia and all of those Arab countries to only sell oil in dollars. You could not buy oil anywhere in the world from them unless you use dollars. Did you guys know that?
Say that again.
They struck a deal with the Saudis years ago that if anybody wanted to buy oil from them, because they was the biggest producers of oil in the world,
Right.
you could only buy oil with dollars, American dollars. That's why y'all heard the phrase petrodollar.
Yep.
That's where the phrase came from, because you could only buy it. Now, when I heard that, I was dumbfounded. I was like, "What? You mean Britain can't go buy with British pound? No. Japanese can't go buy with Japanese yen? No. Russia can't go buy with rubles? No. They could only buy it with American dollars. So everybody had to come do trading with gold or whatever to get the dollars in order to buy the oil. That made America so powerful. It made the dollar so powerful. But that agreement just ended. So the world's changing. No one has to depend on the dollar like they used to. The dollar also has been weaponized around the world, and people in other countries have gotten wind of it, and they've gotten mad with our country for weaponizing the dollar. And when they say weaponize, that means they shutting off people's assets to dollars. They're locking people's accounts down. Man, that money game is a real big game. But when you search it out, you find out about it. So what seems to be happening is we're getting ready to make a switch from fiat currency. A lot of people know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. The states, many states, Tennessee is one of them. I don't know about Georgia. Texas is one of them, and a few middle America states. They have passed legislation that has made gold and silver legal currency that you can use in that state.
Wow.
If you don't want to use dollars. Now, you may not be able to use it for everything. They're trying to establish a treasury type system or some type of other monetary system for their states. But they are basically saying, we don't have the confidence in the dollar that we once had. We need to have a fallback plan. So we're making gold and silver legal currency for our people in our states to use, separate of the American government. So you kind of see this stuff happening, and states are making these moves. So you kind of know that the dollar is not going to continue the way it has in the past in the future. Along with that, the cryptocurrency thing is growing. A lot of people, I've had my doubts about it for years, but and since we are talking about that, Kevin, you know, I might have told you, me and Kendrell was sitting around. Kendrell is my youngest son, Kevin's baby brother. And
you had a chance to meet him?
Yeah, we did.
That's right. Well, me and him and I want to say it's been about 10 years ago. Me and him sat around one day, we was kind of talking about it, and I was trying to tell him about money and stuff. I say, man, what's the number one cryptocurrency? What do they call it?
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin was selling for $10,000. I said, man, if we can get $10,000 we can buy a Bitcoin. It's going to go up. Well, 10 years now, what's the sitting at today? Anybody know?
It's like over 100, right?
It's about 120,000. That's
For
10 years,
one.
guys. That's
For
10 years.
10
10
years.
years. It's done went up from 10,000 to $120,000 on a $10,000 investment. So all of these other little coins that's out there, stable coin, and I'm dealing with some of my
Dogecoin.
nephews and all of them, the Doge, all of them coins. Certain ones going to take off. Some of them's going to fail, but some of them's going to make it. But some of these people are buying these coins when they're only like 7 cents. But remember, 7 cents and you buy a bunch of it, and when it goes up to $7, it's a lot of money. So that trend is happening also. So that all that is pressure on the dollar. So something's going to give. The U.S. government's got a digital dollar too. They just haven't really pushed it.
Yep.
But they're going to push it more and more as soon as they find a way. And it's coming. It's just we just don't know when.
With that being said, do you see any long term like risks and opportunities in how money is being handled and valued today?
Say that again.
Do you see any long term risk or opportunities in how money is being valued today? Now that you saying that certain places are allowing gold and silver to be a form of currency.
They used to use a word in they still use it in the stock market system in 401ks, and they say diversify. You heard of that phrase, right?
Hmm.
Well, when you're looking at this whole monetary system, you're going to have to diversify, guys.
Well,
You're going to have to diversify. You're going to have to be in a little bit of everything. Start with your house first. Start with your budget first. And dabble a little bit into stocks. Dabble a little bit into crypto. Dabble a little bit into gold and silver. It ain't going to be an overnight thing, but you're going to have to start with the basics and work your way up. And then if you come into a windfall of money, start having a bunch, forego the Mercedes and invest that money into a good asset.
maybe invest in some Pittsburgh Steelers artifacts.
No.
Definitely
You
Cowboys.
might as well give the money to me. They got hey,
That
look,
means he
you know
wants
what?
to invest in some
They,
Steelers.
they got enough money, man.
Yeah,
They
that
got
part right there.
that part. Come on now. How many? I'm just throwing this out there. You guys already probably know. How many black owners on a football team?
Point like
It's only,
0.5. Or,
it's,
excuse me,
I think it's only one right
0.5.
now. The only one I know is Magic.
On a football team, or
He's
just part
part.
owner?
He's part owner. Yeah, he's
Okay,
part
part
owner.
owner.
The
Part owner. He's got. That's
He's
just
in the
like
investment group.
that's just like buying a part of a company when you're buying stocks. But the owner, who gets the bulk of the money. Same with basketball.
That's zero,
Same
right?
with baseball. And I'm bringing that up to make a point, guys. We celebrate our teams and all of this. We hoopla, but at the end of the day, man, we're spending money. I spent a whole bunch of money on memorabilia and stuff, and it's fun. Don't get me wrong; it didn't break me to do it, but I have to look out for me. I have to look out for mine. I can't give them all of my resources, man, because I'm only gonna get a certain amount. And at my age, I want to be able to. The Bible says a good man leaving an inheritance to his children's children, and I believe that. I'm learning that more and more every day as I get wiser and wiser. So my thought process is to leave something to my sons so that they can leave something to their kids and their kids. Teach the concepts so that they can teach the concepts. Keep it going, keep it going, keep going. You know, the other nationalities do that very well.
Yeah.
We're just not one to do it, and I'm learning that now. So I'm trying to play catch up with mine, so that when I'm out of here, they're gonna understand. Well, Dad said this. Dad said do this. Dad said do this. This is what Dad said do with what he left us. He didn't intend for us to go out and buy the latest Lotus because we got a million. You know, he ain't intend for us to go out and buy the 20,000 square foot house when the 2,000 square foot to do,
Righteous.
Right.
because that money has to roll over to the next generation and the next generation and the next. That's how the other movies do.
Generational wealth.
Exactly. And with 1.3 trillion, it don't make no sense for it not to be passed down.
No, it don't. No, it don't.
You know, we all know we got family members, man. We can't even put them in the grave without everybody coming out their pocket. Come on now. 1.3 trillion now. Remember that.
You
We
can't
got
even bury
we
somebody.
all got to dig in our pocket to bury them. Come, that's not something's wrong.
All right. With that being said, any final questions from the gallery in the comments? Anybody got any final questions before we close out? Ferocious, Willie.
I just, wa-
Uh,
I just, wa- I just want to
Go
say
ahead,
thank
Mr.
you.
Willie.
That was very impactful. Um, it definitely night two of this. It definitely is. It's encouraging that if you don't have it all together, that you can still. There's still time to get it done. There's ways to invest in yourself
Yes.
and save budget. You just have to be disciplined enough to say I want more. And with all of these things that's been said to us, is it makes sense that you you got to be disciplined enough to just say where when am I going to start? So
Yeah.
this is definitely I will tell you for me is definitely impactful. I'm 47 and this is like I said this is impactful. So thank you for your knowledge and your time.
Ferocious.
Absolutely. Look, I couldn't have said it any better than Willie. You know, no more questions on my behalf, but no, I just wanted to, thank Mr. Cummings for spreading that sea of knowledge. Just planting seeds, places maybe he intends to, but I definitely took a lot out of this episode right here, and I have a lot more questions probably outside of the episode, outside of the podcast, but I appreciate you. I definitely do. Gratitude.
There
And
was
just
one.
let
Go ahead.
and
Go
just
ahead.
let
Go
me
ahead.
say this. I have to do this because you know when someone has a great idea and it's birthed, I want to give them person that credit. Mr. Ferocious birthed this um, to say there's something different that we can do for our people. To bring something that everybody can grow from, and didn't think it was going to be like this. The great people we've already had on here. Um, so,
Yeah.
brother, I thank you for just even though we laugh and have fun and all that competitiveness. Thank you for birthing this because there's people out there that are getting blessed and info just by you birthing it. And so I just want to say thank you.
Yep. So there's one
Hey,
question out the peanut
I brought
gallery.
the idea to the right man. I'll tell you that. I brought it to the right man.
Yeah,
There's one question out there for you, Dad.
yeah.
The Don said, in your recent travels, how was Niagara Falls?
It was absolutely marvelous. You know
So
one thing?
it's worth tying the house up with balloons flying over there. We're going up. We going
Hey,
up.
we gotta go up.
You know, we got there, and one thing that really set our experience off was the first night we got there. They didn't have our room. We were staying at the Sheraton, in a standard room. So they upgraded us, right?
Mm.
They upgraded us to a suite, a corner room. So you had a big window on one side, a big window on the other side, so you could see both of the falls. And then you went into the bathroom. It was just so luxurious. They had a soaker tub plus a shower. I mean, it was immaculate. An in-wall fireplace, a balcony where you can go out on and look at the falls and listen to the water coming down. And my wife and my niece, they said they went. I didn't look in there. They said they looked into the closet. They say, you know, you was in the right place. They had robes inside the closet for you to put on.
Mm.
And my wife, they usually take the towels and stuff with them when we go out of town and stuff.
Stop
they said,
snitching. This is on live. This is live. Stop snitching on them.
huh? Well, I mean,
This is live. You can't
I'm
snitch.
getting to a point. So they said when they looked at the towels, these towels are brand new. They said, we can use these towels.
Mm. Mm.
But you know what I thought about in that experience? I said, now, I don't know who can afford this room. I probably can't. Because it costs a good penny to have that experience. You follow me? So you got to have resources to experience that. We were lucky enough to be blessed to have that experience and didn't have to pay for it. But the people that go there and have the monies, have the resources, yeah, that's it. They can go, and money isn't the issue for them, but they're gonna enjoy the best of the best. Can't hear you, Willie. Did y'all hear Willie?
No.
No. Nope, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you, buddy.
What about now?
Yeah, we got you.
There you go.
I said, like my bishop always say, you got to be in the position for the position for the position.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. And this, I'm gonna leave y'all with this. This is something I've been really on here lately. It's just done stuck with me, and I'm staying on it till God releases me from it. And it says this. You can look this one up on YouTube, and it's from Aaron McKee. Tough Time Creates Strong Men. Y'all ever seen that one? Video?
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, it goes like this. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. So Aaron McKee said he was taught by his coach that you got to create strong men. So you got to raise warriors. And all that is to say, guys, we got to be careful that we don't let this society make us to be so weak-minded, weak thinking.
Yes, we do.
And persevere. It ain't
Right.
always be easy, but we got to persevere. We got to keep pushing. We got to keep trying. You know, we just can't give up
Right.
because it's too much at stake.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, we want to say, we got somebody said we must bring you back, so we'll try and figure out how to do that.
Everybody, look, this ain't gonna be the end. This ain't gonna be the end.
Nope. We got one more week. I think we got 2 more weeks of this, right?
One more.
One more. We got one more week of this. Next Thursday night, we will have another person on here speaking of this. But Willie, I think we should do a
John.
fourth. No, hold on. I think we should do a 4th week. and bring all three of the guests back at one time. And
Let's
let's
work
pick.
that.
That'll
Let's work that. Let's work that into
that'll
the
be a
schedule.
powerful panel. That'll be
Let's
a
do
powerful
that.
panel.
Let's do that.
Well, that would be.
That'd be a great
You're
one.
gonna get a lot of different perspectives, yeah.
But see, that's what we want though. We had Miss
Yes.
Barbara Richardson last week. You was on Niagara Falls, so you didn't see that episode.
Right.
But she came from the banking experience.
Okay.
Willie, 20.
I would have loved to hear
over-
that one.
Over 30 years, she was the one. She was the first black woman to work for
Wells Fargo.
run Southern California Wells Fargo's over 30 years.
Oh, she's seen it then.
Right.
She's
So we
seen
Oh,
had her last week from the banking perspective. We got you this week from the average, ordinary black male that's doing his thing. Then next week we got somebody else who's going to help us talk about fixing credit.
He has a program that helps fix credit, gets you out of debt. He is a pastor out of Atlanta. His name is Johnny Porter.
That's awesome.
So bringing
yeah.
that one in with all this, like I said, that will be impactful. So yeah,
Well, we got four Thursdays this month, dude. We
Well,
got
yeah.
4 Thursdays.
we just got to make sure the schedule is good for him too.
Yeah, yeah. My boss will be here next time, so I'm telling him now. When we do this with all four, when we do this with everybody else, he'll be back for the big panel.
Oh yeah.
See,
I got one saying before we leave:
what's that?
secure the bag, but don't forget to invest in it. Invest in it too.
Right. Any final words, Pops, before we get out of here? Anything you want to leave us with? Anything else you want to leave us with? Short, sweet, simple.
You know, not really. Like I said, the really thing I can say, guys, is let's start making it happen with us.
Okay.
With us. You know, my mindset at my age is to see you and Kendrell ready to take over when I'm out of here. And you guys probably in your 40s, right? So you got plenty of time ahead of you guys. So start working on these principles now when y'all get to be my age at 67. Then hopefully you'll be done way surpass me, you know, and podcast be done took off. You guys be multimillionaires, but you got to pass it on.
Prophesy that.
Thank you. We'll
Yes.
take that. We'll take that.
Yes.
You got to take that knowledge and pass it on.
Righteous.
Don't let the next generation go without the knowledge of strong men leading, showing the way. Because that is what happened with our group. We haven't had strong men to show the way, and it's showing.
Yeah.
So guys, I appreciate y'all having me on.
We
Thank you for
appreciate
coming.
you.
Thank you. Willie, take us
Okay.
out, sir.
Go Cowboys.
There you go.
Oh God.
See you on the grid.
I'd rather the Steelers.
See you on
What
the
is
grid.
It's gonna be the Cowboys tonight.
All right. Drop us down, Willie.